South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rock and dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grandview Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show, every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grandview Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grandview Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Hey, good morning, folks. Welcome to Sports by the Book. I'm Kenny White, and we have our national championship teams in order now. And, you know, so much fun. A lot of these games were blowouts. However, remember last year at this point, this is where we at. This is where we started with 4 teams left. This year, Ohio State versus Texas, Notre Dame versus Penn State. All very good football teams. Flip over my sheet of my numbers. There they are, the ratings. You know, we don't have the top team in the country, Oregon. They were 13-0, and they got knocked off by Ohio State. So, you know, it would have been nice to have those 2 in the Final Four, but Texas at number 3 I have. So 2 of the top 3 teams in the country in the Final Four. Notre Dame I have tied for number 5, and with Penn State. So all good. I think we have 4 really good teams in the finals. So, and a nice rivalry game, I think. Notre Dame and Penn State, kind of teams that have been really good in football for a long, long time. So should be fun. Those games are on the 10th. I'm sorry, we'll start with the 9th, and that would be a Thursday. Interesting. Let me check that, make sure. Yeah, the 9th is a Thursday. That's Notre Dame, Penn State, and then on a Friday night, Ohio State and Texas. On the 6th, coming up Monday night, is the FCS Championship, North Dakota State and Montana State. South Point opened that game 4 on Montana State, bet down to 3, the total 56 up to 56.5. And the college football playoffs, South Point opener Notre Dame 2.5 and 47 is held steady. And the Ohio State 6 and 54. The 6 is held at 6, and the total down to 53.5. So amazing yesterday, you know, watching that Ohio State or Georgia Notre Dame game. I had under in the football game. Thought it was a very good under. And it started to perfection. 0-0 into the second. Georgia kicks a field goal. Notre Dame kicks a field goal. This is great. Notre Dame drives down, and they get in scoring position late in the second quarter. And with 33 seconds left, they kick a field goal. And it's 6-3. It's like, hey, this is great. This is exactly what I wanted at halftime. And I'm thinking the entire time, Kirby Smart with a backup quarterback. I know he had confidence in him, and he made some really good throws early. However, in the second quarter, he was not as good. He didn't have the time, didn't have the receivers open, and made some poor passes. I would have settled him down and went into halftime. I'm thinking Kirby starts taking a knee. They don't. Drop backs to pass, strip sack. Notre Dame recovers the fumble, and one play later, Leonard Riley touchdown. Riley Leonard touchdown in the end zone, and it's now 13-3. Still a favorite to win the under, but man, it should have been 6-3 at halftime. You make great adjustments at halftime, Kirby Smart. I just was shocked that he did that. Shocked. And it cost him. If you were at the 35 or 40 yard line, go ahead, take the chance with 33 seconds or 28 seconds, whatever it was left. But with a younger quarterback with very little experience in the big game, take a knee. You're at the 19-yard line. Take a knee. I didn't think your return man should have returned the kickoff in the first place. So at that point, it felt like your team was just out of sync a little bit. And it cost him. And then the second half starts, and Notre Dame returns the kickoff for a touchdown. And I'm going, it's 20-3. 23 points have been scored. So that was my end of my watching for that game. Turned that off, went to the store, and did not want to watch that. But thank goodness it ended up 23-10. Final under. Easy. It was easy. All right, 2 games today, college football. North Texas at Texas State. This is the First Responder Bowl, playing at Gerald Ford Stadium, Dallas, Texas, on the campus of Southern Methodist University. Beautiful stadium. Beautiful weather today, I believe. Let me double-check that to make sure. I had pulled that up before the show and didn't get a chance to look. That's 3 p.m. today. I put that in the wrong game. Yeah, I did. 3 p.m. today. Central. It's 61 degrees and very little wind. Beautiful day in Dallas. North Texas from Denton, Texas, Texas State. Not a far drive to Dallas, so very easy travel for both schools. 2 coaches I really like, and both are just completed their second year. I don't think either coach will be here. They'll both have really good years next year. And both will probably get hired and move up to a bigger school after next year. Eric Morris, North Texas's coach, came from the Texas Tech program. He was a wide receiver, and Kinney was a quarterback, G.J. Kinney for Texas State. But Eric Morris was a wide receiver, slot receiver, and he knows that Texas Tech Red Raider air raid attack very well, and that's what they play. And they play fast, 3rd fastest team in the country, and they throw it, sixth most in the country. They throw it 59% of the time. Now, they're without their starting quarterback, Chandler Morris, who was their starter the entire season, has decided to go into the transfer portal, and he is out of there. Jeremiah Aaron also left, was not of any value. Oscar Hammond, the tight end, is left. The program. He's in the transfer portal. He's worth a half a point. So 5 points for the quarterback, though, because Drew Mestmaker will start at quarterback. He threw 5 passes this year, 4 for 5. Played in 2 different games, 2 for 2 in one, 2 for 3 in another. And that was early. That was in September. Hasn't played since. I was kind of surprised they have a couple other quarterbacks on the team, Cash McCullum and Grant Tisdale. So I'm not sure what happened to those guys or if they're the backups today. So I rated out Drew Mestmeyer, who was basically a walk-on, I think, to this program, was not on any recruiting list sites, and I believe he walked on to North Texas. But he's 6'4", 210. And they must like him because they had 2 other quarterbacks. I know Grant Tisdale, I only had a 4-point drop-off with Tisdale, 5.5-point drop-off to Cash McCullum from Chandler Morris. So, but you know what? Mestmaker must be pretty close to that for them to give him the job. But I still took 5 points off and a half a point for Oscar Hammond from North Texas's rating. Texas State looks like they're pretty much intact. G.J. Kinney, a 7-5 year. He's 15-10 now. He was a quarterback. He played at a couple programs. But he likes to play fast as well. 27th fastest in the country. He does run the ball a little bit more, 58%, number 58 in the country in rushing, 55% of the time. Plays per game, North Texas number 2 in the country, 147. Texas State number 12 at 140. So both these teams are involved with a lot of plays per game. There'll be a lot of extra plays here they normally don't get. Now, Jordan McLeod is the starting quarterback for Texas State. I have not read that he's playing, but I don't see him on any transfer portals, any injury lists, anything like that. But I guess I'm going to Google his name real quick and make sure, because this is a difference maker. McLeod is. Now, McLeod's played at a couple different schools. Started at South Florida a couple of years. Transferred to Arizona, did not play. Transferred to James Madison. James Madison he transferred to, and James Madison, he had a great year at James Madison, like close to 70% completions, 8.7 yards a pass, 30-some touchdown passes. This year at Texas State, 70% completions, 8.2 a pass, 29-12. So the difference maker, I had Duke yesterday, the second game. Took the 17.5. Didn't think there was a big difference. Now, in that Duke game, kind of reminds me of this game, except for the Duke quarterback, Henry Bellin, had much more experience. He had thrown 33 passes in college football. He had a tough game going up against Mississippi, who's a really, really good football team. I didn't think Mississippi would be ready. They were. Jackson Dart, one of the best quarterbacks in the country, and he's in my top 5 for sure. I think Jordan McLeod's in my top 10. So Texas State has that advantage with a quarterback like Jordan McLeod. I'm everything that I see here, I see nothing that says he's not playing. So it's really, really big. They lost their top running back, Ishmael Mahad. He's going in the transfer portal, but they've got several other running backs. PJ Hatter, the third string quarterback, he left. So Texas State really lost nothing in my mind. I have a 16.5 point difference between these two teams. Let me give you some rankings. North Texas went from 74th best offense to 115 without Chandler Morris. The team went from 92nd best in the country to 118. They were a 100.5 rating. They're now a 95. On the road, they have performed to a 97 on the year, and that was with Morris. So they really didn't fare well on the road. 2-4 ATS in their road games this year, away from home. Texas State, G.J. Kinney's team with McLeod, had 27th best offense in the country, 87th defense. The defense is a little lacking. Overall, the 46th best team, 111.5 rating. They never performed up to that this year. The numbers, low 100s. They performed up to it 1, 2, 3, 4 times. They stepped up and played really good games against teams that they could beat, I guess. Texas San Antonio, they beat 49-10. That was a good game. They beat Troy on the road 38-17. They beat Arkansas State 41-9. And they beat Southern Miss 58-3. They covered 3 of their last 4 games. They are the better football team by far. Even though their performance rating did not rate that high, I still think this team is that good, especially with McLeod at quarterback. So I have them 16.5 in this game. I do like to take 20% off my favorites to cut it down a little bit. It would make it 13.5. And that's where the number is. South Point opened 10. They're up to 14. The total 65.5. Now I made this total 84.5 because you got 2 teams that could score, 2 teams that play fast, 2 teams that had great quarterbacks. Now Chandler Morris isn't in. North Texas, to give you an example for North Texas, their median score on the year, they lost 38-36, 74 points a game. On the road, they lost 43-34, 77 points per game. That's what North Texas does. They have a horrible defense. They give up a ton of points. They gave up 40 or more in 4 of their last 6 games. Memphis put up 52. Tulane put up 45. Texas San Antonio put up 48. remember Texas State beat Texas San Antonio 49-10. Now, that was early in the year, and North Texas lost to Texas San Antonio later in the year. It took North Texas, they broke a 5-game losing streak to win their last game to go 6-6 to get this bowl. So that's a pretty good celebration for them. But they give up a lot of points. They give up 40 to East Carolina. It's a well below average defense. Texas State's median score, 39-24, 63 points. So it's total 65.5. I think Texas State can put up a big number. I have them scoring 48. Texas State, they beat Rice last year in the bowl game 45-21, 66. So that's right there, but that was Rice. This is North Texas, who does like to play fast, and they do have a young quarterback. And I really believe they will keep modus operandi with their offense. No changes. They will play fast, and they will throw it with Drew Mestemeyer. They're gonna see what they have in him, Drew Mestemaker. They have to. I think if a coach says, hey, we're going to have to change the game plan, we're going to run the football a little bit more, we're going to take our time, that's something they haven't done all year. For 12 games, they've played fast as anybody in the country and have thrown the ball more than anybody in the country. I just can't see them changing that. I don't care who's a quarterback. You have to believe in your system, and Drew Mestemaker's done it before. So that'll help get this game over the total. I'm over there, over 65.5. Right now at the South Point. This game was 61.5 yesterday. Yeah, it went that low. Somebody bet it the wrong way on purpose because they knew a quarterback was out. But Jordan McLeod's in, and I think Texas State can put up 50. 50 by themselves. You got to get 17 by the dog in that game. Might be worth a parlay as well. Not North Texas, but Texas State minus the points, minus the 14 and over 65.5. They correlate. All right, Minnesota at Virginia Tech tonight. The Duke's Mayo Bowl, Bank of America Stadium, Charlotte, North Carolina. Don't think it really benefits anybody. A lot of transfer, Scott, for Virginia Tech, and this line is just ballooned up. South Point open Minnesota 3.5. They're up to 10. Total 43 down to 42. Minnesota's led by P.J. Fleck. 8 years now at Minnesota, 57-39. He was the head coach of Western Michigan for 4 years before that. He's at 87 wins. This could be number 88 today. And maybe next year, if they have a great team, he could have a shot at getting his 100th victory late in the season or in a bowl game. He's been a spread cover coach. He's 53-39 ATS, 53-39. So Minnesota backers are very happy with him. They were very happy with him the entire season this year, 9-2-1 ATS. 7-1 ATS the last 8 games. Team has played really well. Got them the 42nd best offense. Max Brosmeyer's their starting quarterback. He's a senior, strictly pocket passer, and they're well balanced offensively. They do take their time a little bit. 30.6 seconds in between plays, number 126. So little methodical on offense, well balanced. Offense 42nd best. Their defense number 23. Solid defensive team. Overall rating number 31 in the country, a 115 rating. They performed to a 111.5. Kind of surprised because PJ Fleck's covering spreads. You know, he's done a really nice job of covering point spreads. They only lost the turnover battle twice this year, though. Maybe that's a good reason why. They've been a little fortunate. Brent Pryce, the head coach at Virginia Tech, just completed his 3rd year there now. He won 6 ball games, and they won their 6th game. The last game against their rival, Virginia, beat them 37-17 to get that bowl bid. They lost to 3 good teams down the stretch. Syracuse, overtime loss. Clemson, at home, they lost by 10, did not cover. And then that shows you how much respect Virginia Tech had. And then they lost at Duke by 3, did not cover. But they've got a lot of guys that left in the transfer portal or not playing because of injuries. Their quarterback, Kyron Jones, the starter, he is out. I thought it would be Colin Sheely. Now, he is probable for the game, but William Watson, the third, a younger quarterback, is going to start here. I only took 3.5 points off. I could have taken 5 off with Watson playing. Offensively, their starting center, Caden Moore, is out. He's worth a point. And also I think it's Braden Moore, right next to him, offensive line's a point. Kind of cluster injury there with two of your best offensive linemen out for the game. Wide receiver Jalen Lane is out. He's worth a point. And Daquan Felton, another wide receiver, worth a point. Wide receiver Takey Heath transferred earlier in the month, like the seventh receiver, sixth receiver in the rotation. He probably would have gotten some playing time with their top two guys out. Defensively, Kenyatta Jenkins, a linebacker, worth a half, is out. But it's the defensive line that took the biggest hit. Aeneas Peebles worth a point. And Antoine Ryland is out, worth a point and a half. That's 3.5 points. That cluster injury on the defensive line's worth another point and a half. So I've got 12 points off in the transfer portal. I've dropped Virginia Tech from a 111.5 to a 99.5. They went their offense went from 28th to 89th, defense 38th to 91st, and overall as a team 48th to 99th. They're the 99th best team in the country right now, playing the 31st best team in the country. I have a 15.5 point difference in the power ratings on these two teams. I like Minnesota. I like PJ Fleck, again, bull cover guy, 53 and 39 in his career, regular season cover guy. But this number has gone up. But again, I think there's a mismatch here at quarterback with Max Brosmeyer against William Watson. But again, Minnesota should be able to run the football with two defensive linemen out. And Virginia Tech, losing two offensive linemen, may have a trouble running the football. So Minnesota, I think, wins this game in the trenches, and they've got an outstanding coach with PJ Fleck. They will be ready. He's a bring your lunch pail to work type of guy. So total, I made 43.5. Again, South Point opened 43. Bet down to 42.5. No real value there in this game. I think it'll be a slower played game. I think there'll be a lot of running. Virginia Tech runs the ball 58% of the time. They will try to run the football, run the clock. But again, without two of their better offensive linemen, including their center, who's the captain of an offensive line, that's going to hurt the Hokies. So Minnesota minus the points from me there. So two square plays, basically, over in the first game and then an under. Minnesota minus 10, a favorite. A over and a favorite today. College basketball. Let's jump in. Yesterday, tough day yesterday. Was a losing day. If you just bet unders and dogs, you actually would have grinded out a small profit using my sheet. The overs were horrendous, and the favorites were bad. It's, again, the reason why I don't like betting those. Let me give you my list of my top 10. Didn't give the crew a heads up on that, but we'll just give it out. People want to write it down, go right ahead, grab a paper and pencil. If you're a Power Rating subscriber, you already have it. Number 1, Auburn. I have Auburn 5.5 points better than the next team, and that's Rick Barnes' Tennessee Vols at number 2. Splitting hairs between them and Houston as number 2. Kelvin Sampson's got another great basketball team and outstanding defensively. John Shire, Duke's team, number 4. Right there in the power ratings, a half a point from being number 2. Arizona, number 5. Iowa State, number 6. Baylor at 7. Florida Gators at 8. Marquette at 9. And Alabama, number 10. That's my top 10 right now. That changes frequently. Today's game's Friday, January 3rd. I can't believe it's already the 3rd. And today, Fairfield plays Merrimack at noon. We got a noon basketball game. I've got an overplay there. I made Merrimack 8.5 and 149.5. Again, don't like overs, but these two have shown that they can, put points on the board. Looking at my sheet, though, I color code over information in blue and under information in red. There's a lot of red in this game. A lot of red. Neither team runs. Both teams are very poor offensively. The only thing that leads to an over in this game is how bad Fairfield's defense is. They're going to give up a bunch of points. I have Merrimack winning 79-71. I think they can get their 79. I'm not sure if Fairfield can get to 71. So I'm going to pass that. I'm not going to bet it over, obviously, because I don't like to. And there's nothing there that shows. Now, the next game, not a lot there. Akron 6.5. I made him 6.5 and 160. Right now at the South Point, Akron is a 6-point favorite, total of 157. So very little for me there. These two teams both like to run, though. And both of their defense have been below average. Bowling Green's been really bad. So maybe a game, it is a small lean to the over, but you got to score a lot of points to get there. I have 83-77. That just gets you there basically on one possession. So I would like to have more than a one possession cushion to get a game over. Everything has to go right, I think, in that game, so I'll pass there. Temple, I have minus a half a point against Wichita and 148.5. I do lean to the under with my numbers, but when I look at my pace of these teams and how they play, both of them play fast. Both run. Wichita, 27th fastest team in the country. Combination of both those teams wanting to run will lead to a more up-tempo game and more possessions. Both offenses are good, not great. Both defenses are very good. So they do play defense, both these teams. We'll see. It's an American Athletic Conference game. These are all conference games now. Every once in a while you get a non-conference game, but this is all conference games. In the Metro Athletic Atlantic Conference, Quinnipiac against St. Peter's. I have St. Peter's 4 and 143.5. Not a big difference for me. You know, it's a lean to the favorite and a lean to the over. The road team, the Dog, Quinnipiac, 4 and 8 ATS this year. They do run. They like to get up tempo. St. Peter's plays extremely slow, and they do play good defense. That's the way they like to play. So I'm not going to bet it over when the home team wants to slow the game down to a crawl, and it is a short favorite. It's got to be a close game. I would bet St. Peter's as long as Quinnipiac doesn't have revenge. You got to go back and check and see what happened last year. Quinnipiac lost both games. I'm going to adjust 2.5 points down on St. Peter's. Manhattan at Siena. I have Siena 4 and 130.5. I have a 10.5 point under here. Actually, the number at the South Point right now in Manhattan and Siena, 139.5. So a 9-point difference. And looking at my information on pace of play and scoring, Siena, lower scoring team, 66 points per game. They only allow 69. They're the home team. They play at a crawl, and they're horrible offensively. This reminds me of St. Peter's. They're just not as good defensively as St. Peter's is. But they're going to play this game slow. Manhattan does not run. They play an average, just below average pace. So very few possessions in this game. And I have Siena 4. Right now the line 3.5 should be a close game. I'm under 139.5 there. That will be my first play of the day in college hoops that I'm for sure of. Iowa's the next game. Iona hosting Marist. I have Iona half and 129.5. And the number right now at the South Point, Iona 2.5, 133. Tobin Anderson's now the head coach at Iona, second year. Rather slow pace, very poor offensively. The same can be said for Marist. Extremely slow pace, though. Bad offense. Neither team's defense is great, and if they were, we'd have a really solid underplay here. But it's a lean to the under and a lean to the dog, but nothing more than that. I don't think anything worth a play. Here are a couple big games. Now we got the big guns coming up. Get out of the smaller schools. Iowa at Wisconsin. I have Wisconsin just a half and 172.5. With a Wisconsin game at 172.5. Greg Gard's still the head coach for the Badgers, and usually it's rebounding and defense and slowdown. They're not that way this year. Completely different basketball team. Iowa, Fran McCaffrey, we know, loves to run. One of the fastest teams in the country. One of the best offensive teams in the country this year. And they force their opponents to play fast. So does Wisconsin. This game should be up and down. The total 162.5. I don't think I have a huge play. I mean, there's a 10-point difference, but it's a 1% play. It's a smaller play for the fact that it is a conference game. And I don't trust when teams have history of playing slow, that's what they don't go back to now that conference started. And I think Iowa's the better basketball team. Looking at these two teams, their offenses are pretty close, their defense are pretty close. Wisconsin does have a little better team ranking-wise in both offense and defense, but overall as a team, I think Iowa's good. They're well coached. I'll take 6.5 with the Hawkeyes. Michigan State is at Ohio State. Michigan State on the road. Ohio State 4.5-point home favorite. I have them. They're laying 2.5 now at the South Point. And the total I have 145.5. It's 148.5. So not a lot of room for a play in this game. Tom Izzo in his 29th year at Michigan State normally plays slow. He will run. I mean, he's had a tendency to run before. Both these two coaches, their teams are averaging 81 points per game. And Izzo has shown he's pushing the pace a little bit, but both teams have very good defenses. I got Michigan State ranked the 15th best defense and Ohio State number 40, and they are playing at home. That defense should get better. Let's pass on that. Xavier at Georgetown. This is Sean Miller and Ed Cooley. I talked about Ed Cooley several times. I've been betting him. Money came in on Cooley today. I made this game pick and 157. Georgetown is 2 and 147.5. So looks like an overplay there, but let's take a look and see why we would have it over and if we should bet it over still. Sean Miller's team's playing fast. That's Xavier. They always have. They have a solid offense. It's better than their defense, which is good, but their offense is better. And Ed Cooley's running at Georgetown. Their teams are running. So both teams' defenses are good in transition. That's one scary part about this game. Their defenses are good and they're solid. They're not going to give up easy baskets. You're going to have to hit your threes in this game to get it over. So I'm going to pass with it being a conference game. I do lean to Xavier at +2. That's going against the money, though. Not betting it, just leaning there. St. Joe's at St. Louis. I have St. Joe's 1.5, 162.5. St. Louis is Josh Scherzer, and he is an up-tempo coach. His scores go flying over. He was at Indiana State last year. They have not been an over team this year, though. 10 and 2 to the under. But I really feel like he's got his guys in place and the system in place that he wants to play. Now that it's conference, I think you're going to see an up-tempo game. St. Joe's runs. Both these teams' offenses are good. Their defenses are both good, too. Well, I shouldn't say that. St. Louis's defense has not been that good this year. It has been rather weak and kind of surprising that they are 10 and 2 to the under. But that's because the number, I think, was overinflated early. But I like that over. Anytime you can give me a coach that I know wants to run, I'm going to go over that 151.5 at the South Point. Creighton at Marquette. Creighton, I have a big underdog in this game. Marquette, I made 11.5 and 155. It scares me. I'm going to bet the game. It opened 8.5 at Circa. I think it opened 10 at South Point. It is 10. The total 146.5. Greg McDermott still at Creighton's got a really good team. It's just they have not played well this year. Marquette, I mentioned earlier, I have them ranked in my top 10. They're number 9. They're a really good basketball team. Shaka Smart's a really good head coach. He has his systems in place. Pressure defense, fast break offense, get easy baskets if you can. They're really good offensively. Both these teams are very good offensively. Their offenses are slightly better than their defenses, and I have an overplay here. I'll go over here because I know Creighton does not mind to run. They'll run and they shoot threes well. They hit their threes, they'll be in this basketball game. I think they'll make it close. Over 146.5 there. Again, the overs beat us up yesterday a little bit. Maybe we can get some money back on these overs today. Nevada at New Mexico, Steve Alford, Richard Pitino. Both guys really good basketball coaches. The New Mexico side I made 4.5. It's 6. No real value. 151.5. The total 150.5. New Mexico, the fifth fastest team in the country. And both teams do have better offenses than they do defenses. So maybe see an over there. Off-board games, 4 extras that I'm going to go over here. Central Connecticut at St. Francis. This is a 4 o'clock tip, so no early starts today. I have Central Connecticut 10.5. You're laying 6. And I lean to that play a little bit. They're 8-3 ATS this year, Central Connecticut. But boy, I saw what I saw yesterday again, and I know that happens every year when conference starts. You see different teams. San Diego was horrendous, the entire conference schedule. But conference started, they played much, much better basketball. You could see that today. So I'll pass on laying the points on the road. Rather look for home teams getting points if we can find them. There are not that many shots today. St. Francis total, I made 134. It's 137. Both teams play slow. Both teams are miserable offensive basketball teams, well below average. Both teams score 66 points per game. And if that happens here, that's going to go under 138, 137 now. Total come down already. Lemoyne and Long Island, I have Long Island 4 at the South Point 3. No real value. 144.5 is my total. 145 at the South Point. Stony Hill is at Mercyhurst. Who would ever thought you were going to be betting Stony Hill and Mercyhurst? Well, you may be betting it under. Stony Hill, I made 2.5. 127.5. We can go under 134. Both teams play extremely slow. Mercyhurst, one of the slowest in the country. And both their offenses are bad. Both defenses are bad too, though. That's a problem. However, Stonehill plays slow, extremely slow. Both these teams play at a crawl. Very few possessions here in this game. Scoring a game, Stonehill 68.5 and Mercyhurst 60.5. That's 129. I made it 127.5. I like it under. Conference game. It's going to be a close game, down to the wire. Stonehill's a 1.5 point favorite. Possessions will be at a premium. I think it's going to take really good shooting to get this over, and I don't think either team has any type of good shooting. Chicago State at Wagner today. I have Wagner 11.5. They're laying 9. It's close to a play. Far better defense. Wagner's defense is the strength of this game. Both teams just really poor. These are two of the worst scoring teams in college basketball. My total 131.5. It's 125.5. I am not betting over with two teams that can't score and one that plays especially slow in Wagner. And they play decent defense. They are supposed to win by a big number. Maybe you can get some points late in this game. But I'm going to pass. I don't like my number there. I'm not going over. 131.5 I have. This game should be, and that's only because I have Chicago State, a higher scoring team on the road. If I used Chicago State's and a higher number on Wagner's home games, if this game was being played at Chicago State, I'd have like 116 on this game. So you can average those two numbers. I should be around 124. At that. So I'll have to take a look at those. So that's it for college basketball. A couple of overs, no real sides. One side, Iowa, we got a dog there, plus the 6.5. Let me look at one thing, seeing if there's any home dogs with a better defense getting 3 or more. There's not many home dogs. Well, there's one down there, St. Francis. They do not have the better defense, not even close. So the only two home dogs, Bowling Green and St. Francis, both play terrible defense, so nothing to look at any type of trends there. A couple good overs. Siena under. Couple good unders. Siena under. And the last game, Mercyhurst under. I think those two are good plays. Smaller plays, Wisconsin over 162.5. St. Louis over 151.5, and Marquette over 146.5. Got a lot of good scoring teams there. They are good defensively, too, but they are high-scoring basketball teams. So, NHL, a couple games in the NHL. Before I get to that, let you tell you about the South Point Studios and all the great shows you can find. Obviously, today you're watching Sports by the Book. My daughter Alex White and I are on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., Football Frenzy, Monday 3 to 4, Thursday 3 to 4, and on Friday, that's today, 2 to 4. Chris, Jimmy, Jeff Parles will bring you up to date on all you need to know about sports today. and tomorrow in the NFL. We'll be talking a lot about the NFL. 2 games on Saturday and the rest of the schedule on Sunday. Punchlines, Monday to Friday, noon to 1. Frank Nicotero, very funny show. A lot of comedy and a lot of sports in a power-packed hour there. Race day, Las Vegas, 7 a.m. in the morning, Wednesday through Sunday. So that's Ralph Sirocco. There you go. That's South Point Studios for you. Gone Racing will be back when NASCAR kicks back in. I think that's the Super Bowl, the Daytona 500 of racing. Their first race of the year is the Super Bowl. All right, NHL on Friday. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the information. Lets YouTube know you're watching and you like what you see. The Pittsburgh Penguins, Florida Panthers game. First one on the board. Florida, tough loss yesterday. Struggling a little bit to score. It's a really good offensive hockey team. But we're beaten 3-1 yesterday by Carolina, who's playing well. Those two teams could meet up in the conference championship game. They're both that good. The Panthers, I have 221. I raised them up 15 cents for a 3-game losing streak on the road by the Penguins. Total of 7 under 20, and that's where the play's at. Right now, South Point, 6 over -105. I hope Florida, kicks this small slump in scoring because they are a very good offensive team, and so is the Penguins. So over 6 for me here in Pittsburgh and Florida. Ottawa at St. Louis, the number's very close. I have St. Louis 108. You can see there at the South Point, -110. My total 5.5 over 25. It's 5.5 over right now. Actually, a little bit of movement to the under, a little money for the under. 5.5 under now at the South Point. Backup goalie going for Ottawa today, Anton Forsberg. St. Louis has gone over 3 straight games and 2 in a row at home. So getting to the point where I may have to take a look at that because I have a 25-cent edge right now on the over. Montreal at Chicago. 5-game losing streak by the Blackhawks, the home team. 3-game winning streak by the road team, the Canadiens. So I adjusted that 40 cents. I now have the Montreal Canadiens $1.27. South Point opened up $1.20. They're up to $1.40. A lot of money for Montreal. Any value on the Canadiens, though, is gone now. You don't want to lay $1.40. My total 6 under 17. It is 6 over 15. So very, very close there. Very close. So we're going to pass that. Anaheim at Edmonton tonight. Anaheim's actually won 3 in a row. They're starting to play a little bit better, but big dog here. I only can make the game Edmonton 325. They're -450. The takeback's +350. And again, I am 325, so a 25-cent difference. It's close, but I'm not going to bet it. Should make a small bet, pizza money on it maybe, because it is a regular season game, and it's such a big price. The total, though, I have 6 under a quarter. And we're looking at 6.5 over 35. There's been a lot of money for the over. At the South Point, they opened 6.5. Now they're up to 6.5 over 35. You'll catch me on the under here. I'll go under 6.5 +15. +15. I feel like I'm the bookmaker now. Nashville at Vancouver. Here we go again. I don't know how many times. I don't know what computer group this is that continues to bet Nashville game in and game out. They've lost 3 in a row. They've lost 4 straight road games. South Point opened $1.20, and they're up to $1.70. What are we playing here? This is ridiculous. I don't understand it. Are they doubling up their money? They pick one team out that they want to bet to win one game? This is ridiculous. Plus $1.50 now on Vancouver. Vancouver's the better hockey team playing at home. Their backup goalie, Kevin Lankinen's going. Thatcher Themko's back, but Lankinen got a lot of playing time early with Thatcher out, and he's played well. Saros has been horrendous for Nashville. Goals against is around 4. Save percentage is at 875. I don't get it. I don't get it. Somebody's playing the martingale system and picked out Nashville and said, we're going to bet them, and every time they lose, we're going to double up and get it the next game. I don't get it. I'm playing Vancouver plus $1.50. I think it's a really solid play. So that's it for me today, folks. Appreciate you watching. Please like and subscribe. And tune in today. Football Frenzy, 2 o'clock. Jeff Parles, Chris, and Vinny will go through the schedule. A lot of great information there. So check out the shows at the South Point Studios. Have a blessed weekend, and I'll be back Monday morning at 9 a.m. with Alex.